Good morning, everyone. Dan the Glassman here, and it is Sunday. It's time to do another glass session today. Try to get some glass going. What time is it? I don't even know. I was just looking at that clock, and I think it's wrong. It says it's 6:55. This says 6:13. So that computer's completely off. About like 40 minutes. All right. So let's get our safety glasses on. Let's get started here. So we're live here on the Glassman's World here on YouTube. We're also live on Facebook at Dan the Glassman. So I'm just gonna work on more of the same things. We're gonna let the kiln get up to temperature here. Cool. I believe that's at 600 degrees. All right, so how's everyone doing today? How you guys doing? How's it going? It's Sunday. You guys having a good weekend? You guys have any exciting things going on Friday or Saturday? Veterans Day. All right. So yesterday I went live on YouTube on the Glassman's World and worked on a quick, I guess, a crash course on how to make two-color mushrooms. And so that was pretty cool. I wasn't really planning on doing that or anything, but decided I would do a live lesson yesterday. So if you want to learn how to blow glass and how to make mushrooms and two-colored mushrooms, I'd highly recommend checking out that video from yesterday. And so we're going to work on a few of those right now. I'm still just trying to get my inventory up. But I also need to get a whole bunch of just solid colored mushrooms going too. I'm not sure if we're doing any more vending this season or not. It's starting to get cold. And without a vehicle, it's really hard to get around. And if it gets too cold, I'd like to be able to pack up and go right away instead of waiting around on a bus and all this stuff. But hopefully soon, the Explorer will be going again. I got the fuel line, the fuel filter, finally installed. I was able to get it out. That was a problem. We weren't able to get the fuel filter out easily. My brother's tool gave out, I guess, so we weren't able to use it anymore. I bought a new tool finally, and bam, it worked. All right, so I see there's a few people coming in here and watching now. So we're just getting started. We're going to work on some mushrooms here. And like I said yesterday, I did a crash course lesson on how to make these two-color mushroom pendants. So if you're interested in learning how to blow glass, is that something that you've been wanting to do? Well, I have a crash course lesson on how to make these two-color mushroom pendants. Real simple, real easy. But I would highly recommend that you go and check out the other videos first on how to make a mushroom. So what's going on? How's your guys' weekend going? Did anyone go to the show last night for our friend Christian? I really wanted to make it out to our show last night, but I couldn't. With having a family, having kids, having a wife who constantly needs to just rest and get better and get her health up. I don't have those opportunities of being able to go out when I'd like to. It's something I was planning on doing for as long as I knew it was happening. But you know, I figured if it was a $10 ticket, I could easily just give my brother $20 just straight right to him, and then that way it doesn't have to get split up to anyone else or anything or any of that. And then I don't drink, so it's not like I was going to be helping with raising funds with any of the alcohol consumption. So you know, I figure I could just help directly in my own ways. And if anything, you know, I offered my brother that I'd cook for him. I'd make him some really good, healthy meals if he ever wanted to. So hopefully we can hang out sometime soon and just chill. I do believe that he's not too far from me, probably within walking distance. But yeah, so I missed the show last night, but that's okay. I got to hang out with my family. We ended up watching a movie, King Kong versus Godzilla. That was pretty cool. I haven't watched a movie and sat through the entire movie in a long time. Within about the first 30 minutes, I was already falling asleep. So that's what I do. I watch movies so I could get a good night's rest. No, so yeah, like I got in about 30 minutes and started falling asleep, and then everyone was hungry, so I had to get up and feed everyone. So then that woke me up, and I was able to stay up and watch the whole movie. It was pretty good, pretty exciting actually. Pretty interesting, all the little hidden things that they were putting in there, talking about like the dome and the firmament and the inner earth and all these the ancient battle from long ago. I thought it was really cool. The whole entire connection of Antarctica and going into the center of the Earth and into inner Earth. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, but it's really cool. And they got a lot of cool hidden stuff in there that a lot of people don't talk about, or a lot of people find as conspiracy theory. And you know, until like I'm not conspiring with anyone, but it is a theory that there is an inner Earth, and there's been written, documented history of people's travels going into there, and you know, there's different stories. You know, the whole entire story of Antarctica, basically wrapping around the whole entire, all of the continents of Earth, and basically that we're on a flat plane and not a dome or not a round globe. So some people believe in flat Earth, some people believe in the globe, some people believe that there's elephants holding up a turtle that holds up all the continents on this planet. There's people who believe that this planet is the lowest, or one of the lowest locas, or one of the lowest planets that exist. And there are many more godly and higher vibrational locas or planets than here. There's all kinds of different theories and things. And a lot of it's based on information and experiences, and so yeah, there's a lot of history that, you know, may be true, may not be. A lot of things that they could be showing in the movies that may be real, may not be. But I don't know. I thought that movie was cool, and I liked how it showed a lot of the different little things like that. So that's a caramel with a little bit of cobalt on the tip. These are my classic mushrooms, two color mushrooms with the, basically it looks like psilocybin mushrooms. The Cubensis. These are the ones straight from Mexico. These are the ones straight from South America. Look at that. That one's on fire. Alright, so I'm just going to make several of these and we're just going to talk about things. So, apparently we're in World War III. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to this, or if you're like the rest of the world, the masses who are completely inundated with distractions, such as working a 9 to 5 job in order to cover your rent and your bills and barely getting by and barely maintaining right now as the entire system is collapsing around us and prices are going up on goods and services, and yet our income and our work wages, our salaries have not been increasing with the same rates. And so, it seems like just everything is falling apart around us, which it is, you are correct to assume so. Everything is falling apart around us and done on purpose, as according to plan. A lot of people aren't paying attention to the fact that we're even in World War III right now because they have too many things going on. There are people who are worried about whether or not they can pay their rent, whether or not they're going to get evicted, and what they're going to do once that eviction notice comes. We got a friend who's dealing with a child who has medical needs, and the gas company, New Mexico Gas Company, shut off their gas because someone tampered with the gas meters. And so she lives in a real crappy part of town, the war zone, where there's a lot of idiots who like to mess around with things like that, trying to steal copper and whatever they're trying to get. And now the gas company is saying that our friend is owing, I don't know what it is, like some $500 in repair fees, and also still owing the whole back pay on gas, while her child is a medical needs child, and the gas company is going to shut them off when it's getting cold, when they need the heat, they need the gas, and then the human services department and the people who say like LIHEAP and all these other services that offer help. Well, there's no help because there's so many others who need this help, and then also the funding isn't there, and the systems aren't really trying to help things out, and there's a lot of paperwork that's just getting, just slipping through the cracks, and people are being told that their applications have never been filed. They never filed when they filed many, many times. They've sent in their information. They have proof and records that they have the email correspondence and all this, and yet the systems are like, oh yeah, oh sorry, yeah, we do see that you turned it in on this day and blah blah blah. Oh yeah, we do see that you did your part. Okay, well just sit tight and we'll be back with you. We'll give you a call sometime in the future. It's like, I don't have the time to wait for some time in the future for you to help me. My gas is turned off. My, we're about to get evicted. We need help with all these different things. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people who are in the same boat right now, who are only focused on how can I get through to the next month? How am I even going to be able to survive, put food on the table, make sure that I have enough gas to get my kids to school, to get myself to work? All these little things that everyone is focused on, and no one is even concerned of the fact that we are actually in World War III, that the borders are open, and there are thousands and thousands of immigrants coming through, including individuals that may be a part of this whole entire um, attack on U.S. soil coming up here soon. There have been cities on a list that have been basically now cities are giving warnings of attacks, whether it be physical or cyber attacks. We've already been in a power outage here, our entire grid in our area of town in the war zone, the San Pedro area. I don't know if we're known as San Pedro Heights or whatever it is here. But yeah, we've already gone through a power outage here. Real quick, only 30 minutes just to test things out. You know, I think that they're breaking these systems right now. They're getting us ready for a complete blackout. I think that they're getting us ready for a lot of stuff. You know, for the last few years, you know, ever since, um, you know, when was it? Was it March 11th, I believe. By March 13th, by that Friday the 13th, March 13th, I believe, or maybe the 13th was on a Wednesday. But by March 13th, March 15th of 2020, we were completely in lockdowns. And from that point, we started seeing food shortages. We started seeing issues with shipping cargo and freights and everything at the ports. All these different places that, um, you know, just supplies were getting blocked up for weeks at a time. Food was going bad. So even if it made it through to the port, all that got thrown away. We've experienced since 2019, 2020, farmers basically being told that they cannot sell to people because there's no buyers. And so you had farmers who were slaughtering pigs, composting them into the soil. You've had, remember the piles of potatoes that we saw, that the farmers were told they couldn't even sell to the locals for some reason. It's like, just open up your gates and let the locals come in and even grab free potatoes. Like, they were basically regulated that they had to keep them there and let them rot in piles and piles and piles. All kinds of food. The farmers were then starting to get paid off. Remember, they were getting paid like 2 to 3 times the value of their entire operations of farming for the season. Basically, they were getting paid 2 to 3 times the value of what it would be for them to shut down everything, right? Shut it all down, shut down the operation, send your workers home, turn off all the machinery, everything, stop growing, stop watering your crops, stop tending to your crops, just stop growing, stop farming. We'll pay you 2 to 3 times the value of what you would get if you farmed this all out. Make sure that your employees are paid and everyone's paid. And we're going to take 1 foot of topsoil from your farm, and then ship that all back in evergreen containers back to China. Remember years ago when people were receiving all those Chinese seeds in packages, just randomly showing up at people's doors? Just a random package of seeds, right? And then they found out that they were Chinese seeds, and people actually grew them. And people are saying, don't plant them. They may become invasive species to the U.S. coming from China. People still planted them. They wanted to see what they were. They were some sort of like, I don't know, like a cucumber or a gourd or something like that. A lot of them were. I don't know if all the seeds were. And so, years later, then China's now taking the U.S. topsoil and taking it back to China. So maybe for years they were just testing out U.S. soil to see, will our crops grow in the U.S. soil? Is it worth stealing or purchasing and buying the farmers out and taking their soil? And will it be that easy? Just offer them 2 to 3 times the value and bam. Then, I don't know if you guys understand it, but when you scrape topsoil, do you know how long it takes to regenerate 1 foot of topsoil? It's going to take decades. So now that farmer is not going to be able to produce very many crops on his field, or at least in that. Well, I don't know if they allow them to scrape their entire crops and fields, or if it was just like a little area here and there. But this did happen, and a lot of people are not talking about these things, you know? And so we've had this food shortage going on ever since 2020, guys, when everything got shut down in March of 2020, and people are still just focused on their 9-to-5 jobs, worrying about how they're going to pay rent, Like, I don't know, for me, I have to basically put myself in everyone else's shoes, and I have to think about this. Like, okay, if I had a 9-to-5 job, how would that look for me? Well, I'd probably be waking up in the morning with an alarm, right? Get some breakfast, get myself ready, all that. Get ready to go to work. Leave at a certain amount of time that would then get me to work on time. So depending on how far I live from work, I'd have to leave, 30 minutes to an hour to get to work, before I'm even starting to get paid. So I have that travel time that I'm traveling for free. I got to pay for my own gas to get there, right? Then you get to work, you clock in or whatever it is, or you show up for your shift, or however it is, and then you work for like 4 hours. You take a 1 hour lunch break if they give you 1 hour. Maybe they only give you a 30-minute lunch break, and then you work another 4 hours, and then you go home. Maybe you go home. Maybe you actually go somewhere else. I remember during when I used to work, I would then want to go out and have a drink, go have a beer, go meet up with some friends after work, and then you'd go home, a few hours later after that. And at that point, then either you've already had dinner at the time when you were hanging out with your friends, and you go home and then you just like sit down, relax, watch a little bit of the TV, a little booth tube, and then pass out. So you can do it all over again, right? There is no time in that scenario. That gives me no time at all to listen. Like maybe I caught the news in the morning while I was getting my breakfast, right? Maybe I caught the news and heard a little bit about what mainstream media is trying to force down my throat and what they want me to eat, feed me all their half lies, half truths, or whatever. And then maybe during lunch, maybe there's some screens on while we're having lunch, and you can see some things going on, or you can watch some things. And then maybe like around dinner time or right before bed, instead of watching a movie or something, that maybe you're actually watching the news and you're watching a little bit more of what mainstream media is showing you, right? That scenario there gives me no time to research the amount of research that I've been doing ever since all of this and even before all of this. So since March of 2020, when we all got shut down, I started really heavily looking into a lot of things. So instead of having a 9-to-5 job, I can then spend 9 to 5 at my house. I can get up at 5 a.m., work for a few hours, right? I can get up by 5 a.m., work for 4 hours. That's a good day for me. 4 hours on the torch, that's a good day. And then I can then spend the rest of the day, 9 to 5, just sitting on the boob tube, I guess you call it, watching the YouTube and checking out other things on Google search, or looking at other different things like Reddit and all kinds of information, looking at other mainstream media from different countries' perspective, not just from the U.S. perspective, looking at Australia, reporting on American news, watching China's news and how they report on us, India, watching all these individuals speaking like professionals, doctors, individuals who are part of peer-reviewed study groups, not just part of Johns Hopkins and the CDC and the WHO, but other individuals, people who have independent studies and research and all this stuff. If you don't have that time in your day, you really are sitting there in the dark, you know, completely ignorant. Ignorance is bliss, though, so you're completely blissed out, loving your life, thinking, oh man, I'm making good money, I got a good job, taking care of my family, I got a good family, we got everything we need, all the bills are paid, the car payments are done, the house payments are done, the electricity and the gas is paid, we got food on the table, I am successfully living, yay! Not realizing that you're just simply being inundated by distractions. You're completely staying distracted throughout the day. A 9 to 5 job keeps you distracted in just one mode of living. So you don't have that time to be a researcher, sitting there all day and doing studies. You know, maybe if you're a student, that's your job, is to sit there all day and just study. But if you are in your profession, if you're a professional, you really only have time to work within your profession and to only study things that pertain to your personal career development. So a lot of people aren't looking into a lot of different things. And for the last few years, a lot of people's ignorance has become extremely rampant around, and no one has the time or the opportunity to really take the time to deep, extremely deep into everything that's been going on. And that's the crazy thing, is that, so everyone is seeing all this stuff happening, right? The rent's going up, but your pay is not, right? Food prices are going up, and the food, the packages are getting smaller, right? So you're getting less food in your packages. It costs more. And then there's less food on the shelf. You know, they're putting all this extra food up on the top shelf these days, and they're turning them around backwards. Like, why are they doing that? They're trying to make it look like they have more food than what they really have or something. They're trying to create a scenario to make it look like something that ain't really happening. Or they just figured out something new and different that we're just going to keep our extra supply up here. When we see that dwindle, then we just place an order. I don't know. There's something new and different going on in the supermarkets, I've been noticing. And then the whole entire, for the last few years, you've been seeing how people have been not wanting to use money because, oh no, it might have COVID, you might have your cooties on it, and people are going cashless. Also, people aren't giving out change, so they round up your sale like, oh, it cost you $1.50. Well, sorry, we don't have change, so we'll just take your $2. Instead of rounding down, right? Like, oh, I'm sorry, here, we'll just take $1. Like, no, they want your extra money. They don't want you to have their extra money. You're not trying to make profits off of being a consumer, right? You haven't been taught how to turn everything into assets and not liabilities, right? You've never been taught how to utilize your wealth in that way, right? You've only been taught how to stay in the hole your whole entire life and then slowly dig your way out to finally see the surface a little bit. There are some people who are extremely successful with making a lot of money, but are their family lives successful? You know, are their lives actually successful? Are they happy that they did that? That they spent all their time and energy, their whole life, on just their career? Are they are they happy on their deathbed, or do they feel like, man, I wish I would have spent more time with my kids and my grandkids and my friends and my best friends and all these people? You know, from the time that we're children, about 5 years old, we're pushed into the system where we are then inundated with doing whatever they need us to do to train us to then go to college, to then get a career, to then continue to follow the orders and follow the directions on what they want us to do. And that's what life is. So I mean, if that's what you find is successful living, then have at it and so be it. But for me personally, I don't like. I would prefer to be in control of my own life, my own schedule, without having the money aspect to rule me. So I don't put the money in front, but I do know that there are responsibilities that need to be met. And on this planet. We gotta obtain certain things in order to live at a certain way. Like if you want to be living on the street, well, you only need to obtain a certain amount of things. And then even on that level, like, do you want to have a backpack or do you want to be pushing around a shopping cart? If you have a backpack, that affords you the ability to stay mobile, to move around a lot more, to get on the buses, use the free transit system and things like that, to get into shelters and stuff. If you have a bunch of shopping carts or even just one shopping cart, you cannot get on the bus. So you have to walk everywhere, which means you have to drag your belongings everywhere. You're possessed by your possessions. Even in that level of barely owning anything, do you know how heavy of a load that is to carry? But then you got people who are like millionaires, right? And because they have so much money, they purchase, several different homes. They got their one home and their vacation home, and they got their home on the island and their private resort, and then they got their their timeshares on different islands, and they got all this different stuff, right? And they got all their cars, and then they got to maintain all that, right? And they're not going to be doing their house cleaning, so they got to pay for a house cleaner to take care of their properties, and they got to take care of whatever else that they need to maintain. The mechanics for their vehicles and the storage for the houses and the belongings that they have to put into these houses. So just a bunch of really nice, fancy storages holding all these things that they're not even utilizing or using at that time, and just accumulated wealth or treasures that's just there, stagnant, you know. And so, for me, I look at it too, like, wow, they're kind of stuck also in their own ways. They're having to lug around and carry that big old heavy load with them of having to pay all the property taxes and all this and all that, paying all the wages for all the people to take care of their things. And that's not a very simple living or a way of living, getting back to nature. I don't know. For me, I just see that this world, the masses are completely distracted by this whole we need to work a certain amount of hours in order to create this like 40-hour week schedule or more, in order to then pay a certain amount of taxes. And the thing is that people don't realize is that at the time that you're born, you have a social security number that is basically like your routing number. And then you have your personal identification number, you know, the number that follows you on your driver's license and your ID and stuff. And that number is like your bank account. So you got your bank account, your routing number. And when you're born, the feds, the federal government, they put in $1 million on everyone who's born. It goes into a basically a trust. And if your family doesn't know about this, or you don't know about this, or anyone doesn't teach you about this throughout your life, then when you pass on, then all that money has been accumulated. No one knows about how you can acquire that straw man trust and all the account there. How do you get into your account that the Fed set up when you were born? Because you've accumulated, they put in $1 million per person, and then that accumulates, and by the time that you passed on, you've probably generated up to like $10 million. So then, when the family doesn't gather all the funds from their federal accounts in their federal trust funds, then basically that gets it just reverts back to those who put it in, the feds. So then they make all this money. So everyone's wondering, like, how do we even afford this $20 billion funding to whoever Biden's sending money to? Like, it doesn't even matter where it's going to. How do we even afford this while we are in so much debt? And it's like, well, the more people that keep on getting born, the more money goes into these accounts, into these straw man accounts. And then when you pass on, and they're like, okay, well, let's just make sure that, you know, everyone at least lives till they're about 40 years old. That gives them the opportunity to work a good 20 years and accumulate taxes and help out with accumulating the funding for Social Security and Medicaid and all the different things, everything that everyone pays into, all the insurances and everything, you know. And then the feds end up getting all of that money, $10 million a head easily. And so they expect you to work a certain amount of years in order to then accumulate even more wealth for the whole entire system. No one teaches you this stuff, guys. No one's ever going to teach you that. No one's ever going to teach you that you've been enslaved since you were born. You've been enslaved into the system ever since then. And this takes care of the world wealth, the World Economic Forum, the World Economics. So everyone stays distracted for hours and hours and hours a day. And then they sit there for their couple little hours that they got during the day of their free time, a few hours. And they spend arguing with individuals like myself, who I've spent hours upon hours per day. We're talking thousands of hours now at this point. I should have a degree in many different fields. But that's all a part of the system. I'm not going to get sucked into having a student debt for the rest of my life. You know, why is it that people are paying? There's a girl I was watching the other day on a video talking about how she had a $90,000 college tuition, right? That she's been paying off this student loan, $90,000 student loan, right? Been paying off for 10 years. And there's been times where she's given them chunks, like $6,000 here and there, right? Big old chunks of change, right? And then she looks at her bill, and basically she's only been uh, paying the interest and not the principal. She's only been paying enough to where now the interest that's accumulated over that time on $90,000, she's paid I don't know how many thousands of dollars, and now she still owes $120,000 because of the interest. How is anyone ever going to get out of debt once they decide to sign their life away to become a college student and to sign their life away for a student loan? Like, I don't understand how anyone ever pays off the student loan and able to then like make a living. Like, it's ridiculous, but maybe some people are able to do so in a timely fashion. I don't know. But now they're talking about people who aren't paying off their student loans and they're delinquent, that they may no longer be getting their Social Security or food stamps or their benefits and things like that. And it's like, well, okay, these people are getting help from the state because they can't afford to even pay for their price of living, on their own. So of course they can't pay for their student loans, and then you're going to take away the benefits that they need because they can't afford. It's like, you got to be careful when you get loans, right? You got to be real careful when you take a loan out. You got to know if you can pay that loan back, or else, you'll default on your loan and then they take it back. But what are they going to do? They can't take your education back. They can't take all that knowledge back from what you accumulated. So what they're going to do? They're going to take away your right to live. They're going to take away your opportunity to be able to get some help from the state, because their degree that you paid for, you went to college to get a degree to get a certain career, and they can't guarantee you that career. They can't even guarantee you any sort of job whatsoever. So they failed you in their educational system by not being able to guarantee you a certain salary position within a job or something like that that's within your degree of study. And so then, yeah, people are going to default all over the place. The system is rigged, you guys. And that's the whole thing. What's going on, Melissa? Good morning. I'm just talking randomly here, and right now we're talking about how the systems have been broke down and breaking down for the last few years, but even long before that. And how basically right now people are so distracted with life and trying to survive in this whole entire great reset, which is what this whole breakdown of all the different services and all the different systems are. The medical systems broke down. People are basically being sent to become unalived in their situations when they're going in for help, and instead they never come back. Like Hotel California. Once you check in, you can never leave. So yeah, these systems are breaking down and around us purposely, and people aren't able to even pay attention to it because everyone is distracted with a 9-to-5 job. And then once you're like past the whole all working ages and stuff, and you're just retired, at that point you're just tired. You're tired of the BS. You're tired of all the crap that you've had to go through. You're seeing everyone else going through it, and you're like, well, I had to go through it. I guess everyone else is going to have to go through it too. There's no more fight within them because they've been tired again. They tired you out, so now you're retired. But you can enjoy your retirement as long as you stay a consumer, right? You go out, have a vacation, go to Disneyland, go to Mexico, Acapulco, wherever you want to go. As long as you stay a consumer, they're getting paid, they're getting their taxes, they're still taking your money, your wealth that you accumulated. They want to make sure that you spend that money through your retirement so it doesn't go into any sort of inheritance. They want to make sure you don't create any sort of generational wealth. They don't want any competitors in there. There's only about 8% of them in this world, right? That own everything, the whole world. 8% of the world population? Or no, is it just 8 people? 8 individuals, 8 families. Is that what it is? 8 individuals rule the world and own all the banks and own everything. But as long as we stay consumers, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, independent, conservative, Green Party, if you worship Allah, Muhammad, if you're Islam, if you're Jew, it does not matter. What matters is, are you going to continue to be a consumer on this planet? That's what it's all about, guys. How much can you consume while you're here? Can you help to deplete the supplies for the future generations to come? So we can make those supplies even more expensive so they can make more profit. That's all it is, guys. We have so much supplies here on this planet that all the billions of us, however many billions there are, whether there's 7, 8, 9, 13 billion, however many billions of people are on this planet, because I don't believe anyone can actually figure out that number accurately. But yeah, there's a lot of people on this planet completely distracted. And then there's the people on this planet who have no clue what's going on because they're still native to the planet. We got all the Amazonians, all the tribes that are still out there who are getting affected by these bulldozers and things, these people coming in and clear cutting the Amazon rainforest. And these tribes are like, they've never seen TV. They don't know what's going on in the world and with the news. They don't know that these people are going in to steal their trees in order to just make some money, make some profit. They don't know how to file motions, file court orders and paperwork in order to get companies to cease and desist and to stop from any future developments or anything until certain paperwork or certain things are done or acquired or signatures or whatever. They don't know how to do any of that. They don't have legal representation. So the lands are getting stolen. People are completely ignorant. And that's not a bad thing. Ignorance just means that you don't have the knowledge of something. That's it. That you're unaware. It doesn't mean that you're stupid or dumb. Ignorance just means that it's information that's being ignored. That there's information being neglected. Now, whether you're purposefully ignorant or accidentally, that's a whole different thing. Some people choose to ignore information, when it's 100% fact. But because, like if I tell you something that has to do with anything medical, who's going to believe me? Even if I'm telling you something 100% fact. Like, okay, the human body has an endocannabinoid system. that our bodies they thrive better when we utilize cannabinoids. That's 100% fact. But I'm not a doctor. I'm a glass blower. I'm an artist. I'm a musician. I'm a sculptor. I'm a painter. I'm a gardener. I don't have a degree in any of these things. I didn't pay the system. So because I didn't pay into being a part of the system, I'm not a part of the fraternity. No one is going to believe anything that I have to say unless it has to do with these professions, what I've become professional in, right? But what about the fact that I practice Ayurveda, food inside medicine? What about that fact? The fact that that is a profession of mine, that I do that. I had to cook for my guru in a specific way. I've been trained, but they don't give you degrees in those things. You don't get a diploma in how to keep an ashram going, how to take care of a guru, and making sure that the practice is met. You don't get degrees in those kind of things. They don't give you a little star on your collar because you've reached a certain level or a rank in spirituality or in knowledge. There's people who've created very destructive things on this planet, and yet they're given the Nobel Peace Prize for creating like atomic bombs, right? Right now I'm making mushrooms. Sorry, I just saw your question, Melissa. I'm making a 2-color mushroom with the caramel and the cobalt. And I'm probably going to make some hot air balloons. I'm noticing that opportunity has presented itself to me after winning Best of Show here and winning at the state fair for the 13 original balloons from 1972, all made in glass. That original collection there has now blessed me with the opportunity to get my glass into the Albuquerque Balloon Museum gift shop, to possibly get my collection into the museum itself on display. Now speaking with individuals who are part of the balloon fiesta, the coordinators and things like that. So I'm seeing this opportunity open up, so I'm going for it. We're going to be making balloons throughout the year now, not just during Albuquerque Balloon Fiesta. But one thing is, balloon fiestas happen year-round throughout the world, not just here in Albuquerque during October. So I may also be able to get my glass balloons on a world circuit. I don't know if I personally will be following the balloons or not, but I could possibly get someone who follows all the different festivals, or maybe several individuals who go to different individual festivals, and get them to purchase at wholesale so they can retail at the festivals. So that's a plan that's coming up very soon. You got to always see those opportunities and seize them. Seize the day, carpe diem. So yeah, getting back to what I was talking about. So I just see that, for the last few years, ignorance has been very rampant. The information that's out there, anyone can be looking into information, but now I see that people are purposely ignoring information. They're only going along with, like they've decided, okay, if this has nothing to do with Johns Hopkins studies, then I'm not going to believe it. Or if it has nothing to do with what the CDC or WHO is recommending, or anyone like that, then I'm not going to deal with it. If it's not made by Pfizer, then I'm not going to take it. When in fact there is 100% factual information and evidence that shows that there has been billions upon billions of dollars in lawsuits against Pfizer and all those companies for their recommendations in the past. Certain things that they've said that maybe people should do, or things that they should take, or different foods and drugs and things. The FDA has approved so many different things that then has been put onto a recall list, right? So because they do these trials and stuff, they can never really get sued, because people know that these are trials, that they're just testing out things. You know, when your doctor prescribes you something, they're usually like, oh, there's this new thing on the now in market, and so I can recommend that to you. They're not saying, oh, we can then experiment with you on this, or experiment with this certain product or whatever on you. We'll utilize you as a guinea pig. They don't say it in those terms, but that's exactly what's happening. It's called medical practice for a reason. They're just practicing things, and they're testing out stuff to see what might work. That's all it is. You know, in practice, like, you know, you go to soccer practice, you're testing out different, you know, different runs, different ways you can set up your team, your defense, your offense, and how maybe having two individuals here and one individual here, or whatever, you then practice these certain techniques that might help you to be victorious. Might. Doesn't mean you're going to win every time. Especially in soccer, that's a 50-50. You're either going to win or lose. Or do they have tie games? I guess in soccer. I'm not a sports fanatic. I'm not an athlete per se. I do like to snowboard. I used to love skating, skateboarding. I'm athletic in those ways. I used to shoot hoops for fun. So yeah, I know that in the last few years, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that people are afraid to talk about, because then they're going to be told that, oh, fact checkers just doesn't believe you, or oh no, you're just another conspiracy theorist, even though you're not conspiring with anyone. So it doesn't even make sense, their little term there. It's like, where do you come up with this stuff? The CIA? For those of you who don't know, the CIA coined that term, conspiracy theorist. I don't know if that was during the whole JFK situation, the grassy knoll, all that stuff, the babushka lady, the car that somehow now has three rows of seats instead of two. A lot of stuff. But yeah, so CIA created and coined that term many years ago, many decades ago actually, and now they use it so much, like it's so silly. Just because that your viewpoint of something is different than another's, oh no, you're a conspiracy theorist. Like, what happens to having like a difference of opinion? Aren't we allowed to have a difference of opinion? Not anymore. Now you're ordered on what you can think, what you can say, and what you can do. Welcome to the new world order. New orders, guys. Is it fun? Do you enjoy this? Is it good for you? Did you like that? Did it feel good? Did they at least leave you up first? So yeah, I'm just randomly talking here about things that people don't want to talk about. So you know, one thing I've noticed in the last year is that there's a lot of friends and family members I know that they went along with the rest of the 80% of the population that also went along with what some computer geek. So that's the thing. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're not going to listen to any individuals like myself because I'm a glass blower about medical stuff, but you're going to listen to some computer geek who steps down from Microsoft many years ago, then starts to invest in medical products for some reason, face masks and different things. And then next thing you know, he's now in charge of telling people what they're supposed to do and recommending that everyone gets the jibby jab. Some computer geek, some little dork, some guy who's got so much security that no one can infiltrate. I don't understand why he hasn't been taken out yet. I don't get it. So this nerd over here is telling everyone what to do, and people are listening to him. Why? Because he's the king of the internet, and everyone needs the internet. So now everyone bows down to him. He's become ruler because of his invention, and I guess he stole it. He stole a lot of the information, all the knowledge, and everything, and then he just ran with it, right? So now we have Windows. What are Windows? Windows give us the opportunity to see out, and people can also see in. Unless you put a filter on your windows, if you put some sort of filter, then people can't see in, and you can always see out. But maybe they put a filter to where you can't really see them, but they can see you. You ever think about that? Why do they call it Windows in the first place? And why is the guy who created Windows now in charge of telling you what you're supposed to do with your body and with your health? Do you have any time on hand to actually consider any of these things that I'm talking about? You probably don't have any time on hand. You probably already shut off the video by now. Or you got blocked out of the video and you decided you're not going to return because the truth is too heavy and you'd rather go sit and watch some kitty cats on the videos or something funny, maybe a stupid human trick or things like that. I love watching those videos. It's fun. It gets my mind off of the reality of the situation that we're about to be in World War III. Not about to. We are in World War III. And we're about to get attacked here on U.S. soil. And it's about to come and hit us really hard. And people are not able to even get away from their distractions on, oh my God, what am I supposed to do? I'm about to get evicted. I can't pay for my gas meter because someone destroyed it. And now the gas company is blaming us for the destruction of it, when some bums who live out here in the war zone definitely did it. The gas company doesn't have their meters around inside cages with cages around them to keep them protected. They know that this is a problem because of the neighborhood, and yet still our friend is getting charged all this money and not going to be able to get the gas turned on. It's getting cold. They have a baby in medical need. These systems are not here to help. They're just here to keep us completely stuck and begging for their help. They put us in the situation so then they can act like saviors. You guys understand what's going on, right? All the systems are collapsing around us currently. The banks, what happened last week with the banks, guys? Does any of you have Bank of America or Wells Fargo? What happened with your bank account? Did your money actually literally get held for 3 days? You had direct deposits that were supposed to be going in, and for some reason the transaction didn't go through. Were you late? Were you delinquent on any payments? Did anyone waive those late fees for you? And were they compassionate? Were they understanding that, oh yeah, we know the whole rest of the world is dealing with the bank issues right now, so we'll waive your fees. Did anyone get that consideration? Seriously, please respond in the comments below. Let us know. Did you have a Bank of America account? Like, did you? Because if that would have happened to me, I would have closed my account and made sure I went elsewhere. Or go directly cash, and just utilize other ways and means for digital payment systems, prepaid cards, things like that. But there's a lot of stuff that's going on, you guys. Power outages everywhere. Some sort of a chemical implosion or explosion in Texas recently. The borders have opened up. Thousands and thousands of individuals are coming through in each and every individual state along Mexico. That's Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. Is anyone paying attention to what's going on? Or are you completely inundated by the distractions of just a simple 9-to-5 job? Like, wow, my job is a distraction? Really? That's what feeds my family. That's what does this and does that. It's like, no, your job is a distraction from your spiritual path and from what you're supposed to be doing on your soul path and with your soul and getting connected back with God and all these things. But instead, they got us worrying about, how am I going to pay rent this month? That's why I'm on the torch right now. How am I going to pay for certain bills? How am I going to get certain supplies that we need for the month? How many times has your house been paid over and over and over and over again, and yet still they're taking money for the same house that's dilapidated, either through rent or mortgage or whatever. That house has been paid off in full, and then someone else acquires it, and then they start renting it out again. They make money off of something that's already been paid off. It's amazing. It is a magic trick, you guys. It's an illusion. It's called Maya. Maya is an illusion. Maya is the illusion. Materialism helps to create that illusion. So, is anyone focused on what's going on really in this world right now? Is anyone still gathering food, storing food, making sure that you have some sort of backup power, candles, things like that? The other day we had a power outage. It was only out for like 30 minutes, right? It was a real quick, short power outage. There wasn't anything to really be concerned about. At first, of course, my concerns are, I hope this doesn't last too long because we got so much brand new groceries in the fridge. That's what my thinking is the food, our food supply. We don't have ice on hand. Our store down the street that has ice, well, they burnt down. Can't even get ice. But very soon it will be cold enough to where we might be able to store our food outdoor. Maybe dig a little cellar or something like that, where you can put your food underground. At Camp Two Dogs, we used to have a metal trash can that we dug into the earth that then held the cooling. It brought in the cool of the earth, but then because it was metal, it made it even cooler. So we had a really awesome off-grid system of a refrigerator and a trash can. It was cool. And it worked. And I think we also lined it, insulated it too, things like that. So there are ways, to be prepared to do these things. But for real, the other day when we were out of power for 30 minutes, right away, everyone comes out. So we're in an apartment complex with 8 units, right? everyone comes out the doors, everyone's looking, oh my gosh, your power's out too, your power's out too. Like, yep, except ours. Our window, along all the rest, as you can see in the video when I went live, our window was lit up bright. Our unit was the only unit that had power. We are the only individuals here that are thinking about backup generation power, having solar panels in the front window. We have one window that has the sun facing it. And then there's another window right here. We have two windows in our entire apartment. And I use this window for my ventilation system. So the one window that we really have to use on the south-facing window, we have solar panels in there. We have a 100-watt system. It's not big, it's not huge, but we were the only ones with power the other day. And we had backup candles. I make my own candles with Crisco. So I know I can make a 1,000-hour candle with a big old thing of Crisco. We're set. We got Crisco candles. I got lard and Crisco in the freezer right now. We're good to go. You know, I can make all kinds of candles. But one of the individuals around here didn't have a flashlight and didn't have candles. He's an older gentleman. He's a foreigner. I think he may be a part of all these. Well, I don't know where he's from, actually. I'm trying to think. It doesn't matter. But wherever he's from, he's not thinking about survival mode. He's not thinking about having extra food or extra water, extra candles on hand, even just having a flashlight. Does he have a cell phone? You would think that he would have a cell phone that he could then use his flashlight on his cell phone, right? People are not prepared, guys. This is going to be very harsh. Once things start hitting us on U.S. soil, it's going to get brutal, guys, because people are not going to be prepared. And then you're going to feel bad and you're going to want to help. So, you know, we gave that gentleman 2 of our candles just in case he was going to be out for the entire night. And I didn't want him knocking on our door again in the middle of the night. So I gave him 2 brand new candles. And hopefully he only lit one and saved the other one. Hopefully he was thinking for next time. Hopefully he didn't leave them lit. Like, oh, this is nice. I like candlelight. I like having dinner by candlelight. I'll sit in there by himself having some like beef stew out the can, like candlelight or something. But yeah, people are not thinking about these things, guys. We are the only ones who have a rainwater collected, which we can then use our life straws to drink out of, or put it through a Berkey filter, which we actually have the AquaPress Berkey compatible filters. And they're actually supposed to be better than the Berkey filters. They actually went through a third-party testing to get certified test results. Berkey, they do their own testing. You can't trust that. That's like trusting the police to do their own investigation on themselves. So yeah, people are not prepared for what's to come, guys. And very soon, the harsh reality is those of us who are prepared aren't going to be able to help you out, because we're going to know, oh, sorry, I only have enough candles to last me and my family for a week. Hopefully we don't have a power outage longer than that. Good luck with that. Pretty soon we're going to have to be in that way where we're not going to be able to help. We're going to have to tell you, oh, I'm sorry. You're going to have to learn how to build a rocket stove maybe and vent it out your window so you have some sort of light and fire to keep yourself warm. Oh, you didn't spend time for the last few years researching on how to make a rocket stove and how to vent it out your window properly. So now you're gonna succumb to carbon monoxide. Oh, I'm sorry. Good luck with that. You've had many years. You've had this whole opportunity. They've afforded you this opportunity. The elite, the people in charge have been making this all happen, making the systems fall apart. They've given us years and years of warning. Then we're within it now, and they're still giving us time to prepare for it. They can't lose us all. They need some worker bees here still. They can't lose us all, guys. All right, I think I'm good with those. We're going to work on some balloons now. All right, what color should we make? I didn't leave my balloons out, so now I don't know what colors we got. I'm going to take a quick peek here. So good morning, good morning. Let's see, we got some individuals here watching. We got the new balloons that I made the other day. Got 3 more of these blue and white ones. Oh yeah, we were going to do white themes, so anything white besides blue. White and green, white and yellow, white and red, white and purple. Anything white. White and peacock. Those are white and cobalt, so now we can do white and peacock. Those will look really good. All right, so let's move on to some glass balloons. We just made all these mushrooms here. As you can see, there's 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. Usually I can fit 9 water drops across the top row. So you can see that these mushrooms are slightly bigger than the water drop pendants. And like I said, they used to be smaller. For some reason, these things have just gotten bigger. I'm just gathering more glass than I used to, and they just get bigger and bigger, and then I have to try to downsize them. Eventually, one day, I'll get them back to where 9 of them will fit across. All right, so now we're going to make some balloons here with the cobalt, or not the cobalt, the peacock. So we get the peacock blue here. Also, it looks like turquoise, but it is peacock. We'll just make a couple classic balloons right now. So the classic balloons, just take two layers of color, or 2 what do you call these, rakes? Draw on 2 rows of color on opposite sides of each other, and then we twist them up. Nice and easy. We figured out these take about 10 to 15 minutes each to make. And these ones here will go in the kiln. The mushrooms, they're really simple. They're not as fragile. They don't have as much stress as these here. So I'll make sure these are all kilned and nice and strong. The mushrooms will be fine. I've had mushrooms that lasted me 20 years unkilled. So as long as you hand anneal everything properly at the end, it should be fine. With glass that's not very fragile, doesn't have a lot of stress put in it. If it's mostly clear glass, you're not adding any layers of colors to it. You're not adding all the layers of stress to it. So yeah, anything clear glass, if it's not a whole bunch of attachments and seals, you're not sealing pieces together upon pieces, like the drop of water, the water drop pendant. Those ones, they don't really need to be kilned. Man, I gotta open up my door. It's getting hot. and there's hardly any airflow in here. I can barely walk through this room here. I need to clean up this floor. I got all my tools on the ground from when I've been working on my guitar, which I'm at a standstill right now with my guitar, but hopefully I'll get my guitar up and running soon. So, I don't really know what else I need to talk about as far as what I was just talking about with the whole state of affairs in the world today. We are in World War III, officially. It just hasn't reached U.S. soil yet. There are a lot of cities on a list that have been warned for possible upcoming attacks. And just because your city is not on the list does not mean, they're not going to tell you everything. They're just letting you know the major areas. In New York, the entire state is not just one city, but the entire state of New York, guys, has been declared a place of warning. How many movies have we seen where we've already seen the destruction of the entire city of New York? The Day After Tomorrow, Godzilla and King Kong. Well, I don't know if that was from in New York, but you can imagine these big old cities with things. There's so many other cities, right? Independence Day. There's so many other movies that have shown New York completely desecrated. Now, we're going to be going through one of our harshest winters, guys. It's going to get really cold, extremely cold this year. We might not get a lot of precipitation, we might not get a lot of snow, but it's going to get cold, guys. And those of you who are up in those upper states like New York, if they're talking about attacks, and especially if it's going to be grid down attacks, where complete blackouts are occurring, that is going to be brutal cold. You need to learn how to make these rocket stoves. How are you going to stay warm? How do you make a Crisco candle that you can then put one in each room safely so they don't get spilt over or cause any fires or anything? How are you going to keep you and your family warm? How are you going to keep yourself from freezing? You don't want to unalive yourself, right? Such a weird word, unalive. You don't want to become non-existent, right? I prefer that than unalive. You want to stay on this planet and exist, right? For a little while longer. Right now I'm just adding the rakes here to create the shaping of the balloon. So it looks like you get all those ripples. So one question or one thing I was talking about, and then I think I got sidetracked, was the fact that like 80% of the world's population ended up going along with the rest of the 80%, right? And they all went and they got it. Now we're talking, friends, family members, people we like, people that aren't in our circles, people we don't associate with. There's a lot of people, right? Now, what I'm noticing is that a lot of these individuals who went and got themselves protected have been sick over and over and over constantly this year. over and over and over, constantly. Like, weren't you just sick last month? You get sick monthly? That doesn't seem very healthy. That doesn't seem like you actually got yourself protected when you went and you got that done. So yeah, this is something that I've personally been noticing, and I don't know if I think the ignorance is rampant. I think that people are ignoring the fact that, oh, huh, didn't I get myself protection from getting sick, but for some reason I'm getting sick? Why? Why would that be? A lot of people are blaming it on, oh, because 20% of the world didn't get it, so now they're still infecting everyone. They're still carriers. And yet, these 80% of the people are also ignoring the new information, data that's come out, that has said that the masks don't work, that if you've gotten the protection, that it doesn't protect you, right? And then they're trying to claim that if anything, what it's doing is just keeping you from making sure that you stay existing here, is what they're then trying to claim. But yet there are thousands of individuals who have succumbed, who are no longer existing with us here on this planet, that they have returned back to Creator now, and they're no longer here with us. There are a lot of people in denial, guys, who want to believe that 20% of the world's population is still keeping them when they're protected. I'm like, wait, don't you have the protection? Isn't the protection supposed to work? Didn't you get protected? Isn't that the reason why you went and got protected? Was to protect you from getting sick? And now you're still getting sick? Huh. Doesn't seem like that protection works. But I believe a lot of individuals are basically just ignoring the fact of the matter. That, yeah, I was supposed to be protected, and for some reason I'm not. People are in denial, in denial, and they want to blame others still. It's not going to change the fact that they're going to be the ones who are going to continuously get sick throughout the year, next year. We'll see. We'll see how often you can, every time that I get sick, I'll promise you this. If I get sick from here on out, from this day of November, whatever today is, the middle of November, so from this day forward, for the rest of my life, if I get sick, and I'm talking like, I'm getting like really sick. I got a runny nose, I got a fever, I got some sort of cold, some sort of flu, I got a cough, got the body aches. If I get sick, because I have a sinus infection, guys, so from time to time, I have to blow my nose because of my sinuses and things like that. But if I am like, I got a cold, I have a flu, I get something like that, a real illness, I will go live and document it. I will let you know what I'm feeling, how I'm feeling, what's wrong with me, what my temperature is, if I have a fever or not, what remedies I'm taking, what homemade remedies I'm taking, because I I don't do drugs, kids. Okay? Drugs are bad for you, kids. Okay? I don't go to pharmacists. Okay? I don't go to the doctors. Okay? And witch doctors and mad scientists. I don't trust them. I trust nature. I trust God. I trust in prayer. I trust in true remedies created by God that we find here on this earth every day, all around us. One of the best remedies, homemade glass of tea. Nice warm cup of tea with the proper herbs within. If you use the right medicine, the food is thy medicine. If you grow the proper herbs and things, you will be able to heal yourself. We all have the ability to heal ourselves. Also through your vibrational energy and your frequency. If you're all depressed and sad and all woe is me, well, good luck. Good luck getting better. But if you're in a positive way and you know that you can overcome it and ain't nothing going to hold you down, then you got this and you're good. But yeah, I promise you that if I get sick from this day forward, and let's see, what is the day? November 12th. Okay, yeah, yesterday was 11/11. So November 12th, we'll just remember from 11/11 on. So that's an easy day to remember. From 11/11 on, because I'm not sick today, so I'm not having a report or anything. So from 11/11 on of 2023, I am going to report to you whenever I'm sick because I never went and got that. I'm one of the 20%ers here on this planet. Now I'm not going to say I'm a pure blood because I've been jabbed in my lifetime. In 2008 or 2009, I was given the whatever you need in order to not get the I don't even know it is a hepatitis shot or something like that. I had to spend time in jail for a little bit, and they forced us to get these shots. Either that, or we have to stay in quarantine for like 30 days all by ourselves. And I was like, just give me the stupid shot. I don't know. So that was the last time. So I'm not a pure blood because, in what, 15 years ago, I was given some sort of inoculation or whatever it was. I'm sure it had mercury in it. I'm sure it wasn't the most healthiest thing to put in my body. And then when I was a child, my parents made sure that I got the jabs so I could go to school and then had to get them again for middle school or whatever. But there are people on this planet who have never, ever had them, and they are pure blood. They've never been inoculated to go to school. A lot of what are they? The Mormons, the Amish people. A lot of them are pure bloods. The Amish people are like going to be the only pure bloods on this planet. Even the natives, the indigenous natives from this continent here, Turtle Island or America or whatever you want to call it. Everyone on the res decided to go use the white man's medicine. Go use that white man's poison there. Believe in them. They're here to protect you. What the fuck are you guys thinking? It's so stupid. Like, go walk into a slaughter again. Go walk into another trail of tears in a whole different way. You guys walked in on this one on your own. We tried to warn so many people, but stupid fact checkers, people with some sort of invisible certificate on fact checking, these people who are the truth tellers, you know. But it's all right. Everyone has their own experience in this lifetime. I'm not going to stop you from your experience. But it's sad. It's really sad that a lot of people have trusted in all of this. And now people are just dropping around us left and right. You know, we just lost one of our acting friends, right? Like literally friend star, co-star, right? Matthew Perry. He didn't have any health issues that he was talking about. He may have had some addiction problems, you know, but so did Ozzy Osbourne. And Ozzy is like old and decrepit right now, right? He's still alive. He's still with us. Why would Matthew Perry go but not Ozzy? You know, there's so many people on this planet, and I'm sure out-partied Matthew Perry. You know what I mean? But people want to believe in all this hype that the media gives them, right? Mainstream media. The programs, they're the ones who are programming you on what to do. What programs do you watch? What programs do you receive your information from? What are you getting programmed through? Who is programming you? Which hosts, which co-stars, which actors, actresses? Who is programming you? Do you even know that you've been programmed? You're programmed to work that 9-to-5 job and not have the time and opportunity to think about any of these things. That's for damn sure. You've been conditioned. Even indigenous people are conditioned here on this continent here to believe that they're Indians. They even call themselves Indians. Indian tacos, right? And they even have NDN, NDN1.com or .org, right? NDN News, NDN Media, NDN. You're not even from India. But those who discovered America, or basically took claim of your land here, decided to now call you Indians. And you got to simulate it into that, into believing so. There's so much programming that's been going on for decades, centuries, millennia, since the beginning of time, guys, since the battle of Eros and Erebus. An ancient fight of good and evil. But yeah, I feel bad for everyone who got duped into thinking that they were protecting themselves and really they're harming themselves. So we get duped all the time. You know, just the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago, come to find out that the cat food that we get, supposedly like one of the best labels, the best brands, we're paying all kinds of money for, supposed to be grain-free. Well, apparently there was a lawsuit because they were caught with putting grain into the food. And because they settled out with the lawsuit, they can still label it as such, but maybe they label it, I don't know, maybe they had to change the label in a way, but to where you still think you're getting grain-free, but really it's like, it might have an asterisk star to it that says, oh, grain-free means that it could contain 3% grain or something like that, you know. And then, of course, you know that grain is all just GMO. It's not organic. And then we've all been taught that animals aren't supposed to eat um, raw meat and food, that we can only give them kibble or we might spoil their diet. Like, oh no, if they taste the steak, they might realize that that's what they're supposed to be eating, not this weird kibble and bits, this whole gravy train or whatever, Purina, Alpo, all this different crap, all this pet food that used to be livestock feed that they then basically commercialized and marketed in the turn of the century during the revolution, industrial revolution, when they created all the tycoons, all the billionaire tycoons, and created Wall Street and created all this stuff and said, hey, you can no longer live naturally. You now need to live off of our chemically laden products and our toxic chemical products and use all of our DuPont stuff and all of our pharmaceuticals and everything. You're going to use all of our stuff that we've created. We're going to eradicate hemp. We're going to make cannabis illegal. We're going to get rid of all kinds of homeopathics and natural stuff. And we're going to get you on hooked onto our cold remedies and flu remedies and all these diet pills and all this stuff. And you're going to be happy. You're going to love it. And so right now, we're going through another revolution, guys. That was the turn of the century with the Industrial Revolution. And now we're going to be going into the transhumanism revolution. Transhumanism, guys. Look it up. Learn about it. Find out what transhumanism is. Are you a transhuman already? Have you already transformed and digitized yourself into the world of the new world order and the new way of what's to come? It's pretty amazing now, this transhuman revolution here. They said that it's like the fourth stage of the Industrial Revolution or something like that. I'm on what? The fourth stage? Or maybe the fifth, I don't know. Whether it's the fourth or the fifth stage of the Industrial Revolution. Transhumanism. Integrating us with computer technology was another one of those revolutions. Technology revolution. And then there was a couple other revolutions that we got into. And maybe that was the science of, like, I don't know, bioscience, biomed, things like that. Utilizing organs from other bodies and putting them in with other bodies, things like that. That could have been one of the layers of this industrial revolution, which apparently we're in the fourth or fifth level or stage of the industrial revolution. So for the last 100 years, they've been revolutionizing the way we live, moving us away from nature instead of getting back to nature. We're moving further and further away from nature, guys. We are nature. We're supposed to live within nature and be nature. We are a part of nature. Humans are natural. We're nature. We're supposed to be here. We're supposed to help all the rest of the natural living species here to thrive and to live successfully. We're supposed to be those stewards and guardians of God, but somehow we've been distracted by the Maya, by the material illusion of all these beautiful things that we want to have. The whole reason why we came back to planet Earth was to get more. We weren't satisfied in our spirit world, so we had to come back here to get the materialism once again. And we forgot the imprisonment that comes with it. We forgot that God gave Satan this realm to rule upon. This is his dominion. This is the world that the devil rules. Earth. And we're right here in it. And we're supposed to be learning how to bring heaven back to earth. We're supposed to inundate the devil here with heaven. We're supposed to bring God back to the devil here. And instead we're getting distracted by the devil. Quite simple, guys. The evil, the material, the Maya, the illusion. We're forgetting about the spiritual realm and our spiritual path and where we're all supposed to be. And if you understood any of that, then all this stuff doesn't matter, because once you are non-existent on this plane, in this energetic field here, the loka called Earth, once you remove yourself from this loka and into a different loka, hopefully a higher vibrational loka, then all of this that was once here will move on and will become part of your past, your soul's past. And you'll move on to the next lessons in your spiritual path, in your spiritual life. So none of this even matters. All this stuff that everyone's crying over and fighting over and all this stuff, all these diseases and ailments and all these like, oh, woe is me, and oh no, I'm going to be homeless and this and that, and all these things. If you are okay, if you are not homeless within the spiritual kingdom of God, then you'll be okay. If you're not homeless in the spiritual kingdom of God. But if you don't reside within the kingdom of God, you are homeless. Your soul is without a home. Your soul is in purgatory here on earth. Your soul is in transition here, not knowing where to go. I hope you guys had a really good 11/11 yesterday, and you were able to transition your soul into a more awakened state, not a woke state, but more of an awakened state. Woke is a joke, trying to relate. They're trying to relate to those of us who are awake. Woke is a joke, guys. Their time has come, but it's not too late for you. So the sad part about the grim future, the truth of it all, is that things are going to get really, really bad. Extremely sad. Emotionally difficult to handle. Things are going to get really crazy here very soon. But if your soul's okay, if you're good, you'll be okay. You won't have to worry. You won't have to fret. But if you're only worried about how am I going to live, my material things, this and that, you're going to be concerned about things. You're going to be worried. Extremely stressed. Unable to focus on the spirit realm at that point. You know, I didn't know what I was going to talk about today, and I like it when I ramble, because it just gets my own thoughts cleared out. It makes me, gives me the opportunity to really think about, you know, all these ideas and things, and what I personally really truly believe strongly in my soul and my heart on it. what I really truly feel. And, I do believe that the masses are completely inundated with distractions. I do believe that there is depopulation agendas in place right now, and that this is all a beautiful plan meant to remove a lot of individuals in order to then almost start from scratch, or at least start anew in the new world order, where the elite, those who are already in charge of the planet here, will have less individuals on this planet to be able to govern a lot easier. If you have less to manage, it's easier. It's not as much work. It's not as much involvement. So that is happening. It's been happening. Like I said, no one even knows the actual total count of the world. They can try to do a census count, but how many people actually turn in their census, fill it out, or not? How are they even going to know? Do they just try to figure it out by the amount of emails that are out there on the planet? They try to figure it out by the amount of phone numbers, addresses, residents, by birth rate, because they do keep track of most of the people who are born, right? And then a lot of people, they're kept track of through their death certificates, right? So you have a birth certificate, you're certified to be alive, and you're certified to be non-existent, right? They certify you. You get a certificate of being here and of leaving here. Kind of interesting. They certify that you're here and they certify that you're not. They have to certify that to keep track. So maybe that's how they know, because almost everyone is born in a hospital, but not everyone is. So they got to go to those third world countries, and then they got to make sure that they inundate them all with these crazy experimental jabs and stuff, and cause a lot of issues with, like the African females, the young women, and the adults, and cause astronomical infertility rates and a lot of health issues, and making people non-existent. And then and they don't even talk about those things. They don't want you to know. They don't want you to get scared that you might be taking an experimental jab with an emergency use act with the EUA. And the reason why they rolled out the emergency use act for this was because people lied and said there was nothing else on this planet, no other treatments that could help. Even though people were finding that horse tranquilizer to work and a lot of other things to work, things that are getting rid of parasites. What are they putting in the body if you have to have a parasite remover to help to keep you safe? And then they decide we're going to remove that parasite remover, right? We're going to ban it, boycott it, make it illegal, whatever they're going to do. Make sure that you can't have access to it. Stop allowing people to manufacture it, because they don't want people to find out that it actually is some sort of a there's something in there, guys. There is something in there, some sort of parasite that is within those vials that they're giving people. There's one gentleman who found shards of glass. That is a lawsuit that he actually won. So lawsuits are coming, guys. That means that there's going to be more and more lawsuits. People are going to be able to then prove that these jabs did something to them. That is going to prove that people like me weren't crazy, to stay away from it, that we weren't crazy to tell you guys to not do it. The best way to stay healthy is to have a strong immune system. So build up your immunity, build up your immune system. Don't put some fake stuff in your body that's an experiment that got rolled out with an emergency use app over lives. So yeah, we're gonna see next year. In comparison, there's several people that I'm friends with, that I've even been around. So spike protein shedding, could possibly affect me. I've been around people who said, "Oh, I just had COVID 2 days ago." That's okay. My immune system's strong. I trust in God. I trust in God's immune system that it'll keep me safe and protected. I trust in God's immune system that it was created in order to keep me protected. Straight up. I believe in God. There's a lot of people who say they believe in God, and yet they went along with a man-made protection instead of asking for the protection from God. I found out a little bit interesting. Like, where is your faith? Is it in man or is it in God? It's like all the people on the res. Where's your faith? Is it in Great Spirit or is it in the white man's ways? You're actually going to listen to this dork Bill Gates tell you what to do? Really? Okay. Let them come in and bring you Nestle water, even though they're the ones who desecrated the Nemus River. And their whole uranium mining and fracking and all the stuff that they've been doing. Yeah, allow the white man to come in and help you. That makes a lot of sense to me. With all of this talk on white man this, white man that, and then they're still taking the white man's experimental jabs. Wow. All right, if you want to be a guinea pig, you want to be a part of their experiment, the white man's experiment, you want to be a test subject? All right, go for it. Have at it. Better you than me, I guess. Better your children than mine. How many people are now finding out that they have AIDS after getting the jab? How many people are now finding out that their cancers come back out of remission because of it? How many people are becoming infertile because of it? How many women are having crazy menstrual cycles? And why are these women not talking about it? How come there's issues with a lot of stillbirth, a lot of females having miscarriages now? And why is no one talking about, I believe was it in France? That there is a 0 birth rate right now for the last 6 months, guys. I don't know if that's 100% true, but from what we are finding out, the information that's coming out, that they have had 0 births in 6 months, guys. 0% birth rate. I believe in France, if I'm not mistaken. Now, this information is coming through from my wife, who also doesn't have a 9-to-5 job, so she can spend all the time during the day to do all this research and study for everyone else. So you can either trust us with our time and energy that we put into these things and our discernment on the things that we're sharing compared to things that we don't share. We don't share everything. Some of the stuff is asinine and ridiculous. But a lot of this stuff is factual information that anyone can just look up. If I wasn't on my phone here, utilizing it while we're live, I could actually, because I'm live on Facebook here, and I'm live on YouTube there, or here and here, boom, boom. And so if I wasn't using my phone, I could look it up. I have this other computer. I could actually plug it in. The monitor is not plugged in currently, but I could plug that one in, and we could actually check and see if that's true in lifetime right now. But why? Why do that? Why me do that for you when you can easily just look it up? And if it's wrong, then just let me know in the comments below. Like, hey, your wife had some wrong information there. It's not 0%. It's only 3%, or it's only 10%, or it's wrong completely. There's millions of babies being born right now. Like, let me know. Because the 0% birth rate in 6 months, depopulation is in full effect, guys. And why is this happening? In Italy, did Italy have one of the largest percentages of the jab rollout? Did they get like 100% of their people to do it? Is that what happened? Did they get 100%, 90% of the females to go along with it? Did they get all the females to go along with the HPV Gardasil vax? And that also causes a lot of issues. You know, these are things that people aren't talking about right now. Everyone is afraid to talk about it. Censorship is real. It's so real that people are self-censoring, including myself. I'm using the word non-existent or existent instead of the DEAD term. We can't even say that word anymore. You get canceled. I got to be careful on the things I say. Because I was talking about the certificates, you know, and that came out. I did say the DEATH word, you know. So I got to be real careful because we can get canceled, and then you don't get this truth and this information because the fact checkers deem that I am lying, right? FU, FB. And YouTube is getting pretty bad too with the censorship. You know, that's why a lot of people are going to Patreon, or they're going to Odyssey, or they're going to all these other different places, Rumble, and BitChute, and DeepStream, and there's so many other different places, guys, besides Facebook. But everyone is stuck on Facebook. You guys are hooked. You're addicted like it's crack, man. And you guys are chasing that next fix. You guys are trying to chase that dragon on Facebook, man. Like, I remember a long time ago when Facebook gave me everything I needed during the day. And now, I just can't get that same feeling anymore. All it does is make me feel sad and depressed and lonely, miserable, and sad, and lonely, suicidal. I don't want to even be here. I don't want to exist. You know, people are like that on Facebook. They got the whole woe is me on there. Woe is me, woe is me. I don't have much more to say or to add to any of this. I've shared quite a bit. I probably shared more than I should have. Ain't none of y'all gonna believe me anyway, so I'm just a glass blower, right? So it doesn't even matter. Nothing really matters to me. Anyway, the wind blows. That's how everyone lives these days. Any way the wind blows. Doesn't even matter to me. All right, there's number 3. That stone's probably way hot. It looks way hot. Oh yeah, it's super hot. I'm gonna take a break, guys. It's been a long enough talk here. We've gone for how long? 2 hours. That's way too long. No one's ever gonna watch this. So thank you for those of you who may have stuck through some of this. None of y'all really commented much, but I appreciate those of you or that one person who did. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna let y'all go. You guys have a beautiful day. Love and blessings. See you soon.